to the Poe Cottage in Bronx, New York.
The Poe Cottage is famous for being the final home of the famous writer Edgar Allan Poe. He and his wife Virginia, who was also his cousin, moved to the area in 1846 when it was still known as the village of Fordham, New York. At this time, the Bronx didn't exist. Instead, this area was part of Westchester County, so part of upstate New York.
Virginia had consumption, the deadliest disease of its day, and Poe thought the fresh country air would do her some good. However, she died a year later. He decided to stay in this cottage instead of finishing his lecture tour. And if the country life wasn't good for Virginia's health, it was at least good for Poe's writing.
The poem that Edgar wrote for Virginia in the Bronx Cottage, Annabel Lee, remains one of his most beloved and widely taught works. During the 3-year period between his move to Fordham and his death, he wrote The Cask of Amontillado, Eureka, and The Bells.
Although you might think that in today's standards the cottage was too small, Poe thought the cottage was perfect. It had on its first floor a sitting room and a kitchen, and in its unheated second floor there was a bedroom and Poe's study. The roof was very low and small in order to save wood and keep the house warm. On the front porch, the family kept caged songbirds. The cottage was originally built and owned by the Valentine's family. The home sat on 2 acres of land, and Poe either paid $5 rent per month or $100 per year. So why don't Poe's descendants own the land today?
Until 1913, when the city of New York purchased it, the small farmhouse was occupied and owned by a number of individuals. Although the owner tended not to be occupant, there are only a few items of the Poe's original furnishings inside the cottage. A mirror, a rocking chair, and a bed that Virginia died in. But there's still no running water. Most preserved houses are those of the rich, but this is an example of the house of a poor man.
There is also a Poe Park, which is located right in front of the cottage. The park's visitor center serves as a small museum as well as a tribute to Poe himself, as the roof of the center is shaped as wings taken from Poe's poem, The Black Raven.
The city of New York owns and renovates the cottage. For a small fee of $5, $3 for students, you can visit the cottage and learn more about Poe and his life here in the cottage. At this time, the cottage is undergoing some landscaping renovations. However, the cottage is still open for tours.